this video, I want to look at what could very well be one of the most influential discoveries in modern history. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm a tattooed preacher, and in this video, I want to look at what could very well be one of the most influential discoveries in modern history, and that is dealing with this recent discovery with the pyramids. And we've all seen these pictures, right, with the 8 cylindrical, what it looks like shafts going underneath the pyramid, which is then connected to these 2 massive square kind of shape structures. Because what this implies, what this or has the potential to imply, is that the mainstream narrative that's been out there is false. Because if this turns out to be legit, and there's a lot of evidence now, again, with all of these discoveries, there's always people who are questioning it, like, is it really real? For all intents and purposes, so far, using the technology that was used, it's legit. So if it is legit, what are the implications of this? Because there is no way that we could, and when I say we, humanity could in and of themselves have come up and built and constructed these massive pillars attached to these 2 massive bases thousands of years ago with what we had. There's no way. And so if we didn't do it, or at the very least, we had help doing it. So who helped us? Or who did it? And so as a Christian, coming at this from a biblical worldview, a supernatural biblical worldview, I just wanted to share some thoughts. Now, I'm not a archaeologist, scientist. Clearly, I haven't been to the pyramids and seen it myself, but I just wanted to just postulate, just want to think out loud, if you will, because the implications of this are massive. So, who built it? Now, we're going to hear, and we've already started to hear, I mean, I've seen certain videos already being circulated where the builders responsible for the pyramids are the aliens. Aliens built it. And I think this is the narrative that's going to be pushed more and more. So let's just talk about this for a second, because I've done a lot of videos on aliens and what they are, who they are, and my opinions on it are somewhat in flux. I'm quite certain, and again, coming at this from a Christian worldview, I'm quite certain that they're not demons. And I've done, again, a number of videos on this on my podcast, as well as just on YouTube videos, where I don't believe aliens are just demons. I think demons are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim giants. When the giants, they were the offspring of fallen angels and human women, create this hybrid. When these hybrids died, because of their spirit, it was like mixed. And so they didn't go. And so if you read the book of First Enoch, their judgment was they were told that they had to stay on earth, but in spiritual form. And so these are the demons that Jesus and the disciples and the early church encountered in the New Testament. These are the demons that are still being encountered by people today. They are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, not aliens. Aliens are different. Now, I contended that aliens were just another faction in the kingdom of darkness. I think the supernatural, the unseen realm, whatever word you want to use there, is so much more complicated and convoluted with beings and creatures than we can understand. So I thought, well, maybe aliens are just simply another demonic entity that exists. Lately, though, lately, I'm becoming more and more tuned to the idea that perhaps aliens, they are fallen angels. And fallen angels have, some people think they can shapeshift, they can look or choose different ways to look. And so I'm toying with that idea. But why do I say this? Well, the narrative is going to be aliens built it. Aliens built the pyramids. And what I want to say is I want to point people back to Genesis chapter 6 in the pre-flood world. Because when, again, so much stuff hinges on what happened in Genesis 6. And it's been like the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, there's just this whole subject has just become so much more mainstream because it's tying so many things together. Now, says the pre-flood world in Enoch that 200 watchers, fallen angels, came down, and again, as I just mentioned, procreated with human women, creating the Nephilim. But what these angels also did was they taught humanity things that they were never intended to know. And so when you read the book of First Enoch, they taught humanity how to basically create medicine, i.e., drugs. They taught them the occult. They taught them stuff about space and astronomy, and they taught them how to make weapons and all of this knowledge. But they also, and again, this is where you kind of go down certain rabbit holes here, but they exchanged technological information. Wait, and when you look at the pyramids and you see again like how they're aligned with, I think is it Orion star belt, and the way they're positioned and the amount of stones that it took and the angles and all this stuff, it's all mathematically precise. And how do they have this information? How did they know that? How do they construct these massive stones to even build? How did they cut them with such precision? All this stuff just lends to the idea that it was done by people or beings who weren't human and done with technology that we don't possess today. And so I just want to postulate the idea that, man, it's like this stuff, these pillars way down underneath the pyramids and what they were used for, and but just the physical structure of it. Clearly this wasn't done by just humans using human technology at this point. There had to be other technology used, and so where did that technology come from? And I feel like this is fallen angel tech. This is this is descriptions. This is discovery of the effects of what this angel technology can do and what they did. Now, the narrative is going to be aliens. The narrative is going to be aliens. And again, do I think aliens are like? Am I 100% sold that they're purely fallen angels? No. But even if they're not, they're just another faction, another entity in the kingdom of darkness. And they did build the pyramids, and they did, you know, construct this massive base system underneath the pyramid. Okay, even if that's true, the narrative is going to be right that these aliens are going to come, they're going to reveal themselves, this big disclosure event's going to happen, and they're going to appear to be the saviors of humanity. They're going to come up with this nonsense about they are the ones who created humanity, and then they've been watching us for thousands and thousands of years, and blah 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 blah, all the ancient alien stuff. That part is all nonsense, but the fact that could they have been a part of this construction and using this ancient technology 100%. And I think that's why that's why this discovery is crazy, because it's highlighting the fact that, okay, something happened here that completely go against the mainstream narrative of how these pyramids were formed, built, who built them, when they were built, all that kind of stuff. This is massive. And I think it points to Genesis 6 and the pre-flood world and what was happening at that time when you had angels mating with human, creating these Nephilim offspring, these giants. I mean, look, did you see, like, when you look at these massive stones that the pyramid was built with, and then when you even look at this new discovery with these massive cylindrical shafts that are like something like 2,000 feet deep, that's crazy. No human could do that. However, you have these massive giants around with like crazy strength using technology that's not from here. It's no longer fairy tale anymore. It could very well be legit. And so I think more and more discoveries like this, I think, are going to happen. And again, I think it's going to be pushing towards this false narrative of like, the aliens did it, they're our saviors, they're going to come and unite the world and save the day and blah, 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 blah. That's the false narrative that's going to usher in the one world system, i.e. Antichrist. But that's nonsense. But the fact that ancient tech was used, the fact that they perhaps could have been responsible for building and constructing the pyramids and this stuff that was just discovered and stuff that's yet to be discovered, I think, man, it's true. And so, I don't know, those are my thoughts. So let me know down below what y'all think. Angel tech, alien tech, or did somehow humans living thousands of years ago with the limited technology, did we do this ourselves? Let me know down below. Well, thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And have yourself an awesome rest of your day or evening. And we'll see you in the next one. Much love. God bless.